Hey y'all, my name is Becca. Welcome back to my channel where I share with you guys tons of content on all kinds of lifestyle stuff. A lot of mama and baby, but also some fun cleaning, cooking, all kinds of stuff like that. Today I want to bring to you guys a sleep tip video for the Snoo. Now a lot of people probably know that I have a Snoo. I have done like an overnight in the Snoo. I've also talked about it randomly in like little day in the life vlogs here and there. So if you don't know, obviously we have a Snoo for our baby boy. And for anyone out there who is either looking into getting one or who already has one, I just wanted to share some of the tips that I've really come across to help him sleep. If you don't know, my baby right now when I'm filming this is almost 11 weeks old. I don't know when this video is going up though, of course, but he does generally sleep through the night. So I figured I would share some sleep tips for the Snoo for you guys. Now, if you want to see a video on how I got my baby to sleep through the night, I do have a lot of other sleep tips that I've learned that are not exclusive to the Snoo that really go along with anything you have your baby sleeping in. So if you want to see something like that, that kind of can be for absolutely anybody sleep tips, let me know, because he did start sleeping through the night around 8 weeks old, and even before that he was basically matching up his hours to the weeks he was. So when he was 4 weeks old, he was sleeping 4 hours. When he was 5, he was sleeping 5 hours, stuff like that. So let me know if you want to see another sleep tip video just for anybody, but let's get into this. All right, so one big thing that I've learned with the Snoo is that there are different levels. So it starts out at the baseline level, and then it has 1, 2, 3, and I think it goes up to 4. So one thing that I noticed was that at different times, my little guy was not sleeping as well due to things like going through a developmental leap, going through a growth spurt, stuff like that. There are times where your baby's just gonna wake up more often, and it is that simple. Even if they're sleeping through the night, they're gonna have regressions here and there, and I think it's really important to know that and be flexible and know that, you know, they're still gonna be sleepless nights. You can just get them to sleep through the night most of the time at least. But one big thing that helped him when he was going through like a leap or a growth spurt or anything like that was actually changing the baseline. If you already have a Snoo, you know that like when you start it, it starts out on baseline, which is a very slow little rock and a very quiet noise. I found that if I locked it up and had the baseline start at level 1, he would sleep so much better because the shallow movement and this like shallow noise just wasn't doing it for him in those times where he was having a lot more trouble staying asleep. So literally just knocking it up to say that the baseline would start at level 1 instead literally did wonders in helping him learn how to self-soothe back to sleep in those times where he just wasn't sleeping as well and was waking up a lot more. Having more motion to start with and more noise to start with really helped combat that. So that's a huge tip I would say. You can start it at level 1 or level 2 if you want to. So if your baby needs more noise and more motion, don't be scared to do that because you can always wean back to baseline over time. But when your baby's going through something where they're not sleeping as well, it really could help them for a couple weeks there just to bump it up and have it start on a higher motion, higher sound, and you can wean it off later on when they're back to themselves. Another big part that kind of goes along with that is on his fussier nights, I actually will lock it on level 2. You can lock to where it'll stay on a certain level because you don't want it to go above that level or below that level. So on nights where he's a lot fussier, which does still go along with kind of like leaps and growth spurts and stuff, and he kind of is just waking up a lot more, I will lock it on level 2, which is just a higher motion, higher noise, and I find that that helps him to not wake up as much because on slower motion, he will wake up more. So when he's more fussy, I lock it on that higher motion, and then if he cries, it's not going to go above or below that motion because I don't want it to go above that, but I also don't want it to go below that because if it goes below, he wakes up a lot easier. So, and that's not to say don't pick your baby up if they're crying. If he's crying, I can tell if he is not going to go back to sleep and I got to pick him up and feed him or whatever. But I can pretty much tell pretty quickly if he's just waking up and just needs a little bit more soothing. So I will lock it on level 2, replace the pacifier, and if he goes back to sleep within like 2 or 3 minutes, then I know he didn't really need to be fed at that moment. One big thing that actually has helped me in the Snoo with my little guy as well is actually using the leg lifters. So you don't have to actually buy the leg lifters. I got them because my Snoo was a gift. So I have the leg lifters, which basically go on one side of the Snoo, and it makes it kind of go a tiny tiny little angle basically. Some people use like tuna cans, I know, or stuff like that. You can make your own little platform, but if you have it going just a little angle, like I think it's literally like maybe a 30-degree angle at most, it actually can help a lot with your baby if they suffer with any bit of like reflux or stuffy noses or anything like that. My little guy has a stuffy nose every single night, no matter what. And he also did get his first cold at 4 weeks, and he did have the Snoo at that point. So having those leg lifters really helped with the stuffy nose, but they also help when he gets a little bit more reflux, because there are some nights where he'll spit up a little bit more if he's laying flat. So it helps to make sure that he's going to be more comfortable, avoid the hiccups more often, because he's very prone to those. It definitely just makes it to where he's not having a whole lot of stuff come up his throat when he's sleeping. So I definitely would recommend just making it on a little tiny bit of an angle. A big thing in the Snoo mama community is double swaddling. I would really recommend this. A lot of people are gonna say, wait, my baby hates being swaddled. They can't be swaddled. They want their arms. However, a big thing is that babies sleep better if they're swaddled. You just have to know how to like soothe them and comfort them to learn how to get in that swaddle without being like super angry and ruin it and not sleep. But they will sleep better if they're not interrupting themselves with that reflex that makes them like fall. So if I put my little guy in his swaddle me swaddle first and then put him in the Snoo swaddle, he sleeps so much better. And the main reason for that is because a lot of people know that if you have their like just the Snoo and you don't swaddle under it, they can break their arms free pretty easily, and it will wake them up because they're trying to break free and they have that movement of their arms way easier. So if you swaddle under it and then put them in the Snoo swaddle, they're not able to break free, and they're also not getting all that movement. So their arms are just staying, like whether you have them on their chest or on their sides, they stay there. And I know that people think that's like cruel, but babies need that. Like that is how they are in the womb, and the whole point of the Snoo is to mimic the womb so they're calm. All right, so double swaddle, but also a big thing that I've actually found, that I found in my Facebook group, I saw this tip and it's really helped, is to make them feel even more like they're being held, just like having them double swaddled. You can actually make a little platform with like a blanket or a towel so that their legs are going up at an angle. So they'll be flat on their back, obviously, and then you kind of want their legs to be up in a little angle like you're holding them. So their legs are, their knees are bent and their feet are above their hips, basically. Like you want them to be laying down and like this is their knee and this is their leg and feet right here, basically. So you get a little towel or a blanket, fold it up to put under their knees, and having their legs bent like that prevents them from like literally hitting their legs down like a little whale over and over, but it also can help them feel more like they're being held. A lot of people do that, and also even add in, some people have the nested bean sack they'll put under so that they have that weight there. Some people use a bag of rice. I usually roll up his little lovey blanket and I'll place it on his chest as well inside the swaddle. Having that weight on the chest as well as the legs like bent makes them feel more and more like they're being held, and a lot of people say that that literally makes their baby sleep like a little angel. Another big thing, I know I'm giving you guys a lot of tips here, but I hope this really helps everyone. Write them down and use all of these tips, I swear. The next thing I have here is to let the Snoo do some comforting. A big thing that I feel like we're all scared of when we first get the Snoo is to actually let it do the comforting. The moment the baby cries, we're like, oh no, they need me. And that's not necessarily the case, because babies don't know how to put themselves back to sleep. That's something they have to learn. So naturally, every like, I believe it's every half hour to 45 minutes, they're at the end of a sleep cycle. So they're gonna wake up, they're gonna stir, and they don't always know how to put themselves back to sleep. And it doesn't mean that they actually need you to pick them up and feed them. It doesn't mean they need a diaper change. It doesn't need even mean they need you to soothe them all the time. Now, of course, if your baby is crying and they're not gonna stop, they need you, of course. But if they're only just kind of stirring and grunting, maybe they make a little bit of a cry for like 10 seconds, they might not need you. So let the Snoo do its job, replace the pacifier for the baby, and let the Snoo see if it needs to go up a level and go up a little bit on noise. And if it goes up that one level and your baby fades back to sleep, they don't need food right now, they're okay. I know we feel mean if we let it do the comforting, but let it just go up one level. And then if it doesn't work, it's fine. I can tell with my little guy, if it goes up one level and he calms down, he's good. If it goes up 2 levels, I know it's probably not going to do anything for him that night because he actually needs something. All right, I can hear him waking up actually in the Snoo right now, so I'm gonna go through the last 2 tips really quick here. The next one is putting them down drowsy but awake. If you need to put them down completely asleep for a while, that is totally fine. But as you're getting closer and closer to that 6-month point where you're going to be weaning them out of the Snoo, definitely try to put them down with their eyes just slightly open so that they realize that they're awake, they're being put down, they're not in your arms, and they learn how to just fade into sleep themselves, not in your arms. I know it is totally fine to put them down completely asleep for a while, but I would definitely say the older they get, the more you want them to be able to go down awake and then fade to sleep themselves. And the Snoo is still going to do that comforting for you, so it teaches them how to soothe themselves being in it. The last thing I have though is to have extra noise going. One big thing for my little guy is noise. So we actually have a Hatch Baby Rest and I love it. We all sleep great with it, honestly. But a big thing that I have is that obviously the Snoo makes noise, but I actually put on the Hatch Baby Rest at a pretty high level every single night, and having that extra noise really helps him, because the lower level your Snoo is at, the less noise it makes. So I find that even if he needs less motion, he almost always needs a pretty good amount of sound. So I will actually put on my sound machine, the Hatch Rest, right next to him and keep that sound on the entire night through as well. And it really does help having some extra noise going as well. And I know that when he transitions out of the Snoo, that is going to help because he's already going to know that sound and have that sound. So when he goes into a crib, he might not be getting the same motion, but he'll be getting the sound that he's always gotten. But I hear him crying, so I'm going to end this video. I'll show you guys a little clip of him. I'm going to go grab him. Hi, Bubba. You waking up? Hi, Bubba. All right, let's get you out. Let's get you out. But that is it for my Snoo sleep tips on getting your baby to sleep through the night in the Snoo. If you guys want to see another sleep tip video that is not exclusive to the Snoo and really is just to get any baby to sleep through the night, let me know. I'd love to share some of the tips that I've learned with my little guy over these past few weeks. But that is it for this video. Subscribe for more and I'll see you guys in my next one.